Hello, and thanks for stopping by the Contemplation Cafe. This is Paul, your host, as always, inviting you to come inside, pull up a chair, and have a think or two. And today we're going to talk about a hindrance to receiving the blessing of the Lord. Can't say that 10 times fast, I'd tear at my tongue. God wants to bless us, right? Go back to Matthew 7, and you can see that God's heart is to bless his people. And that's cool. That's awesome. I love it. My name is Jimmy. I'll take all he gives me. But sometimes there are hindrances to receiving the blessing of God. Can it be unbelief? Yes. Can it be sin? Yes. But something else I want to look at is actually having no room to receive God's blessing. Curiously enough, the other day, as I was driving to work, I was impressed upon to look at Malachi 4, which has nothing to do with this, but this is how it all got started. So I got to Malachi 4. When I was done, my mind took a left turn back up into Malachi 3, get across Malachi 3:10. Two words that stood out for me in that verse was room enough. And that's kind of been on me for a couple days. And so I've been going back through some of the scriptures. I'm in Luke now, actually, in my own personal Bible readings. So I actually came right across Luke 12. I'm like, whoa, how cool is that? So looking at Luke 12, we have the parable of the rich fool. And right before Jesus gets into that, of course, he's trying to be hauled into a issue to resolve. And he's like, I'm not your judge. And then he says, take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses. There's a whole message in that all by itself. So we're going to keep going. Then he goes into the parable. So this guy gets a huge harvest this particular year. And he says to himself, what am I going to do with all this? I don't have room enough to handle it. And he goes, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to tear down my barns. I'm going to build bigger ones and store all my stuff there. And then I'm going to say to myself, soul, you've got plenty of goods laid up for a number of years to come. Take your ease and eat and drink and be merry. It's all good. And the divine response to that was, you fool. Tonight your life will be required of you. And then whose will those things be that you labored for? Of course, the answer to that question is A, not that guy's, B, someone else who didn't work to have that stuff. But the important thing is to go back up. One's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses. And I think sometimes, especially here in the West, that we kind of get a little focused on the acquisition of things. And I think it gets to a point sometimes where we have so much stuff that there's no room for God to bless us because we already have a ton of stuff. Let me give two quick examples, something to contemplate on this week. Number one, look at your closet or your dresser or the place where you put your clothes. Do you have stuff in there that maybe has a little bit of dust on it because it's been hanging up for a couple years? Now, those people who live in northern climates where you actually have like my snow and ice clothes, my not snow and ice clothes, and you have to rotate them based on the time of year, you kind of get a pass a little bit, so it's not like that. I get it, you have to do that because otherwise it would be bad. But in general, do you have clothes that have dust on them because you hadn't worn them in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Do you have that outfit that you've been saying, one day I'm just going to lose that 20 pounds and I'm going to squeeze back into that outfit I used to wear in high school and I'm going to go to that reunion and I'm going to show everybody. Could be. Or maybe you've got that shirt that you had so long, it's got holes in it. And, someone says, you ought to get rid of that shirt. And you're like, no way, man, it's all broken in now and it's air conditioned. But look at all the clothes that you have. We obviously would like God to bless us with some new clothes every now and then, right? That'd be kind of cool. And new shoes. But if you have so many of them, there's no room. You'd have to buy another dresser. Like this rich fool, you have to buy another dresser. You'd have to call some closet manufacturer, come out and redo your closet to make room for more stuff. And you'd fall into the same trap the rich fool has fallen into. If this guy would have turned it around and said, wow, I've been blessed bountifully. What should I do with all this stuff? What if he'd have said, I'm going to go be a blessing. I've got more than enough. I'm going to go share it. I'm going to go change someone's life. I'm going to go do good things with this. Now, what do you think would have happened to that guy? He might have gotten a bigger blessing than he got to begin with. And he may have looked back on it and says, wow. and just think, if I'd have hung on to this, I would have missed out on this. And that could well be the case with clothes in our closets and drawers, that they're just too full, that there's no room enough for God to come in and fill them with other things. The same thing can be said with our pantry or refrigerator or freezer outside. Have you ever opened up your pantry because you're looking for something to eat, and you just stop and you just, like a deer in the headlights, you're just kind of, and you don't know what to eat. So you just close the door and walk away because there's too many choices. You have decision paralysis. Too many options. You don't know what to do, so you don't do anything. You just walk away. And instead of keeping it like that and waiting for all the food to expire and go back in with a big giant box and throw away pounds and pounds of food, maybe at that point it's time to clean out that pantry and go be a blessing to somebody else. So you know what? I don't need 25 jars of peanut butter. I can give some of those away and be a blessing to somebody else. Yeah, sure I can. And just imagine what might happen if you made room enough in your pantry for God to bless you, or room enough in your freezer, or room enough in your fridge. So right now, yeah, your shelves are full, but half that food may be expired or about to expire. You're missing out on what God really has in store for you because you don't have room enough to receive his blessing. So these are the things I want you to think about. Like I said, it's not in every circumstance, but certainly it can be, especially here in the West, can be an area in which we don't receive God's blessing because we don't have room enough to receive it. And I think you'll find that we take a lesson from the rich fool, flip the script, and don't say, I've got so much stuff, what should I do? I know, I'm going to rent a mini storage place for $90 a month and store all my stuff, and then I can get more stuff. I have so much stuff, what should I do? I know, I need to turn this around and go be a blessing to somebody else. I got more than enough. I need to go be a blessing to somebody else. And then be surprised and see what God really does and blows your doors off. Thanks for stopping by the Contemplation Cafe. Have a good rest of your night.